This video is brought to you by Huawei App Gallery. App Gallery has refreshed the daily 15% discount coupons as well as the 50% share to win coupons, so if you missed out last time, now is your chance to claim them. On top of this, the new Battle Pass will be available on App Gallery for a much better price than other stores. Download App Gallery using the link in the description or just refer to my previous video. When you're done downloading Huawei App Gallery, make sure to create an account and change your location to either UK, New Zealand or Ireland. It works regardless of the country you're living in as long as you switch to those. Huawei is running a promotional offer that will allow you to receive 15% off coupons every day till the 31st of August. To participate, nothing easier. Click the link in the description that will direct you to Huawei's main campaign channel. From there, you will be able to claim your daily coupon. On top of that, if you share the campaign link by using the share button to one of your friends, you will get an extra 15% off coupon. Quite a juicy offer, isn't it? To claim the coupons, every day get to the campaign page and click on any of them. Then accept the terms and conditions of the campaign, and those will directly stack up into the coupon section of App Gallery. To redeem the 15% off coupon, click on the share button and get to whatever social media you want to share it from and send the link to your friends. You will receive the 15% off coupon once they open the page in App Gallery. Now head back to the game and buy something that fits the requirements to use the 15% off coupon, and boom, you get yourselves a nice discount. Many thanks to App Gallery for sponsoring this video. Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video, and as you saw already, the 8.2 update just dropped, and with it comes some special features, and the most important one in my opinion, or the one I want to start off with on the channel, is the Obj.263. Simply because that tank received a huge buff that makes it not necessarily more enjoyable than before, but it changes the playstyle to something that could interest a lot of you. First, aesthetically talking, you have the possibility of unlocking the brand new legendary camouflage that will change the name of the Obj.263 to Obj.263 Grey Wolf. And I kind of like the wolf on the side as well, on top of the attachment that you can get also for 4,000 gold. The price of the legendary camouflage is 3,000 gold, which is not cheap, but hey, that's the price to pay to look cool on the battlefield. Two changes were made to the Obj.263. The first one concerns its armor, because Wargaming actually strengthened this part right here, but also this one, because back in the good old days, when you angled it just like this, you had the possibility of penetrating that with regular shells, which was kind of frustrating and didn't allow you to wiggle correctly in order to bounce shots. On top of this, Wargaming decided to heavily buff the gun mantlet of the tank, featuring now 275mm of raw armor, which implies that if you angle it properly, you will be able to bounce even some gold shells coming from the mediums, which was not the case before. But obviously, as always, every single buff comes with a nerf, and the nerf here is about the gun dispersion of the Obj.263, which was increased. But to be fair, it's not as harsh as Wargaming announced, simply because if you take a look at my tank right now, fully equipped with the right provisions and the right equipments, my gun dispersion is only 0.32. So yes, it increased a little bit, but not enough to make it completely unplayable at long distance, which will help you. Even if Wargaming goals was to make that tank a frontal fighting one, aka a Ni 100 Russian or something like this. And to be fair, I feel like they succeeded. The new playstyle of the 263 is quite similar to the previous one if you already played it aggressively. You want to go straight to the front line, and when you have the possibility, you will hide the lower part of your hull, which is your weak spot. If it's impossible for you to hide it, you will have to wiggle. What I mean by wiggling is going left, right, left, right, left, right, as fast as you can every time someone is trying to aim at your cupola. I want to remind you that the cupola on that thing is quite small, which implies that if you try to angle a little bit and going left to right and right to the left, there are a lot of possibilities for your opponents to bounce it off, and this is exactly what we're seeking for. That being said, you can play a little bit more aggressively with it, because you will not fear getting penetrated in the gun mantlet like it was the case in the 8.1 update, for example. You're gonna have a couple of examples of that in this game, because I was actually trying and testing out the new gun mantlet armor, and you're gonna see against the T62A soon that even with gold shell, the guy is gonna struggle quite a lot. On top of this, in this game, I did a lot of snapshots and they all went through. Yes, it has the RNG to take into consideration. But if you're willing and manage to put these kind of shots quite easily, because it happens a couple of times in this game, it probably means that yes, the gun dispersion got nerfed, but not as harsh as Wargaming announced it first, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they wanted to lower it down or increase it maybe to 0.38, which seems to be quite a lot. Now, what is the main player base that needs to acquire the Obj.263? Obviously, in the current meta, the 8.2 update, the 263 has nothing to envy to other TDs, simply because it has a total different playstyle. And this is what is cool about this tank. It's a breath of air straight going into your throat, simply because with this tank, you don't have the traditional camping position with tank destroyers. No, with this one, you are gonna effectively fight off against heavy tanks. Maybe I'm racking them like I just did. You are gonna take some shots and you are gonna bounce them. This is what is crazy about the Obj.263. All these possibilities acquired simply over a 20 or 30 millimeter buff on the armor profile. What I love about this is that even if Wargaming buffed the armor profile, they did not touch the mobility of the tank, which made it incredible. Because with the 263, if you can brawl against your opponents by having an impressive armor but also an impressive gun, if you don't have anything else to follow with, for example, a mobility to take advanced position and therefore be able to push, the tank would have been pretty useless. But I feel like Wargaming already knows that, simply because they didn't touch it. That being said, you are not immune to shells. Look at this. I'm in a 1 versus 4 situation, and even if I'm gonna bounce a couple of shells that I wouldn't have been able to bounce before, here I'm gonna still die. But I'm gonna die with 6k damage packed, which is already better than dying doing 0 damage, because I want to remind you that if you do 0 damage and die without moving from your spawn in the 8.2 update, you will receive nothing. So yeah, it's a defeat, but it's a pretty cool defeat because we managed to pull out a 6.2k damage game, which is already really good, considering that we also got a lot of bouncing shells. I don't remember how we see that, but based on the medals I got, the Amarak detone and especially the damage dealt and the damage blocked, you see that, yeah, the tank seems to be quite interesting right now. So, for the second replay, we're gonna once again take a look at the Obj.263, but I would like to talk a little bit more about the characteristics of this tank. When it comes to the gun, it possibly has one of the greatest when it comes to the DPM, 3.8k. You reload in 7.3 seconds to inflict 460 alpha damage, which is way enough for you to compete with pretty much everything you're gonna encounter: light, mediums, tank destroyers, and heavy tanks. On top of this, the tank destroyer nerf will allow you to get more DPM than some heavies, which will allow you to push even more, which is something quite interesting to do with it. That being said, and another thing I would like to introduce you to when it comes to this tank is the attachment. Not because it's important to talk about it considering the playstyle, but I just love how it looks. Just take a look at this. This is, I don't know, it looks beautiful with the legendary camouflage. It feels like the tank is more aggressive when you have this little machine gun on top of it. But what are the main changes that will occur on the matchmaking right now with the 263? I don't feel like we're going to see a lot of 263 on the battlefield, even knowing that this tank received quite a tremendously good buff, because they had this picture of the 263 from the good old days where it was a really nice tank but only meant for pros. And I don't think it changed quite a lot, because I want to remind you that the main weakness of this tank is it has 3 degrees of gun depression. With 3 degrees of gun depression, if you're fighting on ridge lines or hilly terrains, you are literally useless to the rest of your team. It's either you are playing in a town or flat terrain, and here, if you manage to hide the lower part of the hull, then yes, you are going to destroy everything. But if it's not the case, and if you're playing on hilly terrains, you're just gonna get bullied. And this is why, in my opinion, even if it received quite a huge buff, it's not gonna change that much the number of people that will play it. Obviously, it's gonna make it more comfortable playing on some maps. And yes, that's logic. That was the point for Wargaming. But you will not see 2 or 3 263 every game. It's not gonna happen, and it will never happen. Maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully I will not be wrong, because if I am, it's gonna be horrible to fight off a lot of those tanks on the battlefield, because they are still quite deadly. But nah, it's not gonna happen, please. Tell me it's not gonna happen. Alright, now let's focus a little bit on our replay and what we're doing. As you can see, we have to expose ourselves quite a lot when it comes to reach lines because of our 3 degrees of gun depression. Here I was lucky, I managed to sneak a shot on the VK-9001P and while bouncing the Conway, and it happened only because Wargaming buffed my armor. Now, if you want my advice with this tank, always seek for flat grounds. Here, for example, I could have gone on the Conway, on the VK-9001P, but I decided to come back on the FV4202 simply because it was located on a flat terrain. This is what you're always seeking with this one, flat terrain, flat terrain, flat terrain, which implies that with this tank, you always need to keep it in mind. Alright, so now there is an Obj.263 that didn't leave the spawn, and what is impressive is that the guy is not even AFK, he's actually playing. But based on how he's playing, I'm expecting him to be a bot or something, and a real bot. I'm not talking about a bad player, a real bot. I think this guy was using a bot emulator or something like this. But hey, that's for the best for us because the Skoda is reloading, and yeah, our DPM allows us to destroy that guy because we took 1.2k damage on that fella, and hopefully we end up the game with 4.5k damage, because you're gonna see that all the others right there are gonna die before we make it. So we're gonna finish the game right now, and as you can see, you can still do quite a lot with it, even if the playstyle did not change a lot. Adding an aesthetic camouflage on top of a lot of armor, will make a huge difference on the battlefield using this tank. Tell me if you enjoy your 263 in the current meta. I would be curious to know if you feel the same as I do, but for me, this tank is insanely good when it comes to the armor right now, but the main problem being the gun depression, it's not gonna change that much. It's just gonna make it maybe a little bit more comfortable, but it was something player asked for a very, very long time, and finally, we are exhausted. That's not the right word. Finally, Wargaming answered our prayers. Let's say it like that. Hopefully you enjoy. I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.